it's a great contrast because he's a big guy. He's, I don't know, 6'4". He's really
Oh,
tall. He's
yeesh.
really impressive. But it's funny because that contrast of the being very big guy, but at the same time carrying a little bit of that lovable like innocence. I think it's really
Mhm.
what I think we wanted. Like,
The real world is even cooler than I imagined it was gonna be. Look out! All right. Well, lovely speaking with you.
it's great
Where
talking to you, Lupe.
I've enjoyed your movies, the Ice Age movies. They're hilarious. You also did Rio. And you've done some live action TV, but this is just your first foray into live action. But you get to do some animation in there as well.
I know it was a good. I think it was a good crossover. I would say when I got the script, it was right after the studio was closed, the animation studio was closed, and I have done Ferdinand and all that. So when the script came to me, it came from the producer of Ferdinand, John Davis. And then when I read the script, I was like, well, if I want to do a live action, big movie live action like that, this will be the perfect one because I'll be able to tap my toes back into animation and use special effects my skills I think would work great there, and I'll be able to have fun trying something new, learning something new like live action. It was really a great experience that way.
Were there any challenges? I mean, it's been
Oh, many
done
challenges. Oh
before, a
my
mix
God,
of
every
animation
day.
and action.
Oh, of course. Yeah, every day, because you get out of in animation, we are pretty sheltered. We live in the studio, we know everybody, you take everything in steps, you take longer to make it. So you see the process being made in stages. So you get used to it, and you get used to you get used to that kind of like step by step, seeing it. You get that time to mature the ideas and seeing it in live action. Is like once the camera is rolling and you have everybody together, that's it. That's the image you get. So you got to think fast, you got to move fast. So it took me a while to get the rhythm of it, but I had an amazing cast, an amazing team that helped me through it. Like in a way, they held my hand, like to keep it going. And I think in some levels, the animation skills, my movies helped me a lot because I love to think about the story. I love to think about like the characters, and I treated this one overall as an animated movie. Like have fun, think about like set pieces. They're interesting, they're colorful, they are like fun to watch, and so I try to do as much as I can, you know, combining like the two knowledges, the two worlds.
And Zachary Levi, he does the fish out of water kind of character, right, really well, because he's kind of like kid-like and just the enthusiasm and the excitement, you know.
Yeah, he's like it's a great contrast because he's a big guy. He's, I don't know, 6'4". He's really
Oh,
tall. He's
yeesh.
really impressive. But it's funny because that contrast of the being very big guy, but at the same time carrying a little bit of that lovable like innocence. I think it's really what I think we wanted. Like when I saw him in Shazam, I thought that he was really the right role for this. He carried that kind of like superhero slash kind of like a young kid kind of personality.
Right. So I want to know how you did the scenes where they have the crayon and they're creating these things. So in post, did you have to give them, like, it was kind of choreographed, right? You had to choreograph it.
Yeah, well, we had to choreograph. The thing about, we were still thinking because since the beginning I said, like, if they're gonna come out of a 2D world and come into the real world, things needs to be three-dimensional. How are we gonna draw? And I keep looking at those kind of like 3D goggles that you put on that you can see things, that you go into the virtual reality. Said, like, why don't we do something like that, but we do in real time, real life? So I had a great Matthew Walford was like my visual effects supervisor. So we brainstormed so much, and the idea would be that he would draw in the air. He would draw in the air as he was imagining the three dimensions of the elements. So we did a few tests, and it came out great because I wanted the lines to have that crayon kind of like texture, and I wanted to feel like three-dimensional, that the camera can travel through it, can see it. And so that was a lot of fun to do it. But for the actors was tough because he had to kind of like think about it. And
Yeah.
for example, for things more complex like the airplane, we
Mhm.
actually build a wire giant
Oh.
life-size airplane so he could have the guides. So we will train it, and then once he get it right, we will just remove the plane and he would draw. Sometimes we just remove the plane and then he would be drawing over the lines.
Mhm.
So, but sometimes it was just like, as Zach started to get used to the drawing, then he became more proficient into kind of creating the 3 dimensions and the lines and stuff like that. So it was good.
Yeah, it was nice to see 2D to remind us like what it used to be, right?
And oh,
So
exactly. And I
simple.
really wanted, yeah, and I really wanted to see the, I really wanted the movie to start with what I felt was the heart of the books. I think that nostalgia, but at the same time, that simplicity of the story is
Mhm.
what caught my attention in the first place. It's a very simple story about imagination, about not using your imagination to draw your life. And I think that those kind of messages about like that, yes, you can draw your life, you can draw your way through it, in metaphorically speaking, like
Mhm.
we put into the exactly into the story that we want to tell. So
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Like, you forget about imagination because nowadays kids are on their iPhones or iPads playing video games, and it kind of reminds you of the simpler time, right? That's kind of some of the thematic
simpler time,
things
it's just a
behind,
crayon.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a crayon. It's just a line, and then if you imagine, the line comes to life.
Hmm.
That's what I used to do. Like you, sometimes you play with stick figures, and you're imagining superheroes and things like that. So that's the simplicity that I think that it would be. It would be great to kind of get back to.
Now, a question to you: now that there's all these, this technology where you don't have to take a pen. I mean, you do it digitally, right? Do you think the
Right.
art's going to be different? Do you think the art form is taking a different turn, or it's going to have maybe less imagination because now AI is introduced? What's your view on that?
Well, I think that is going to be a little bit of both. I think if you keep thinking, if you keep imagining, like I'm a very imaginative guy, my brain like never stops working. And I see all those things as like opportunities. I see all those things as tools. If you have the right tool to create your stories, I think that, or create your ideas, I think they're all valid. I
Mhm.
remember when I first started doing computer animation, we came out of drawing on paper and doing like cell animation, those things that we keep saying like, oh my God, it's gonna end with the animation. But no, like we evolve, we learn. Like I look at like an evolution of tools. And I think tools are nothing without the people the creators. I think that the
Mhm.
people that imagine it, even AI, even though AI can imagine in theory, it still requires you to guide. It still requires your touch to kind of keep molding it and make it feel right. So I think it will be a tool that we'll learn how to use, hopefully, for good things. It's powerful, could be dangerous, could be awesome. So it
Yeah.
depends how you see it. But there's no escaping though. We gotta go with the flow and try to keep our brains like clear and try to keep our minds like continue to thinking. Don't I think that the trick is not to get lazy. Just because they can
Mhm.
do some things doesn't mean that you cannot think about them. So you
Right.
should really I believe that it's a combination of two things.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You brought a lot of joy to families with your Ice Age movies. I love Ferdinand. I forgot about that one too. I love that movie. That was so
Yeah.
that was so cute and fun. All right. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your success.
Thanks, Lupe.
All right. Thank you.